Chapter 46. The Journey. The party decided to give their parents 1,000 copper, 500 silver, 50 gold, and 20 platinum coins. As they traveled to each village, they had several encounters along the way, but no monsters attacked them. It was mostly just caravans and small groups of travelers. It was those encounters which helped them navigate each of the roads to each of their villages. The village of Fashion was around 80 miles northeast of the village of Duran. Traveling on horses turned out to be quite fun. They guessed that they might have been able to reach the keep from Duran in a day or so, had they had horses. But then they wouldn't have had all the interesting encounters that they had while traveling on foot. The reality of that contrast had them all thinking about it for a while. The trip to Fashion didn't take all that long though, and soon Lightmane was introducing everyone to his family members. Latia's family was now just her elven father and all of his parents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents and many, many more. But they were all way up north in the Elven Kingdom. So they all hoped to one day travel there, but not now. Seeing an entire elven family, though, was quite interesting for everyone. They were all amazed at how beautiful his 3 sisters were, and how amazing his 2 brothers looked, let alone their mother and father. When Lightmane handed his parents all the money, though, they tried to refuse, but when he told them how much they had now, they were both completely shocked and happily accepted the party's generous gift. They stayed until morning and quite enjoyed hearing his mother tell the story of her adventures she went on with her husband and all that happened to Lightmane, which finally led him to leave home on the next caravan out of town. Lightmane kept trying to explain to his mother that he'd already told them the story, but everyone found her version much more enjoyable to listen to, while Lightmane just seemed to become more embarrassed as she talked. Everyone had a wonderful time meeting everyone, and the next morning they all headed out. The next stop was the village of Farron, where Phileas grew up, and was around 80 miles northeast of the village of Duran. Meeting all of his family members was quite something. His 2 mothers confused them, but by the time they left, the idea that one was his birth mother and the other was his second mother, being his father's other wife, was almost something they were starting to get used to, which also started to confuse them, which then made everybody laugh. But meeting all his brothers and sisters, Gilius, Dilius, Bilius, Gilius, and Lilius, and all their husbands and wives that they had, made them all quite dizzy, which only made Phileas and his brothers and sisters laugh even more. His parents, though, were shocked at the money he gave them, but told them that everyone was going to receive some. It was at this moment, though, that Lilius mentioned Genevieve and how sad she still felt for her brother. After they held each other, and his brothers and sisters all spent some time crying, Phileas knew that he had to tell his friends about Genevieve. Hearing his story brought them all to tears, and the bonds that formed that day were strong, as all of his family members now loved his 7 new friends, and hoped that they could all come to Forestera's Fate Festival at the end of the year. When Phileas told them that they were going to start one in Duran this year, they all said that they would make the journey to Duran, which brought everyone to tears again. But now they were tears of joy. Phileas came to Farron that day, fearful of the pain that his past might cause him, let alone his family and friends. But when they left the next morning, his heart was now filled with joy and love. The next stop was Nightwind's home in the village of Norrendal, which was around 80 miles east of the village of Duran. It was quite a sight for everyone to see all the different races of dwarves, elves, halflings, gnomes, humans, and half-elves all in one village. Latia was very happy that she was finally able to visit Norrendal, but she was even more interested in meeting Nightwind's family because of the time she and Nightwind had dinner together in Duran when they were just getting to know each other, when he told her all about his family. Everyone else had heard parts of his story, so they were all interested in meeting them too. But Latia was the most fascinated, as Nightwind's stories about them all just fascinated her to no end. Meeting them didn't disappoint her in the slightest. His parents even took everyone out in the field for a couple hours, just to give them all a taste of what Nightwind had told them about. Seeing themselves sitting in a field, meditating with a bunch of dwarves, turned into quite the spiritual experience for everyone. They would end up talking for days about how incredible that experience was for all of them. But when Nightwind handed his parents all the coins, they started to cry a little. His mother explained to him, in front of everyone, how they had been hurting financially a little bit recently, and how they just kept meditating each day, believing that everything would be fine. So when he handed them all those coins, they both knew that their prayers had been answered. The next morning, all the dwarves gave all of them great big hugs and sent them on their way. The next stop was the village of Darrenmore, which is where Shinfia grew up, which was around 70 miles east of the village of Duran. When Shin's family saw her coming up the road, they all ran out to greet her. The joy that everyone felt from seeing her again and meeting her new friends was a very special moment for everyone. But when her older brother told her that he was training with the monk, Shinfia started to cry and hugged him. Soon, the monk came over to say hello, and Shinfia ran up to him and jumped up in his arms. In addition to giving money to her parents, she took 20 gold coins out of her belt pouch and gave them to the monk. He tried to refuse, but she wouldn't let him. Shinfia, it's because of you that I am who I am today, and now my brother is training with you. I owe you far more than 20 gold coins. This is the least I can do, so please accept this gift from me. He still tried to refuse, so she showed him how many gold and platinum coins were in her pouch. When he saw that, he accepted her gift. The next morning, Shinfia was having a hard time leaving, but when her brother pointed out the fact that she was just 70 miles west of here and could just jump on her horse and ride here anytime she felt like it, she just started laughing. The next stop was Belfin's home, in the village of Barrowden, which was around 90 miles southeast of the village of Duran. They decided to travel all the way south first, and then work their way back towards Duran. So this trip took a little longer than the others. Belfin was a little apprehensive about visiting his parents, since he ran off with a halfling girl and just left them a note. But when they saw him, they ran to greet him, and his mother's eyes were filled with tears of joy. His parents loved meeting his new friends, but when he gave them the money, they took everyone into the village and celebrated. Everyone could see that bonding with his parents had quite an impact on him. At one point, Belfin invited them to come live with him in Duran, saying how they were going to build a big house for them all to live in, along with 8 little houses for each of them. His parents declined, but promised to come visit sometime, as long as he promised to come visit them sometime too. The next morning, everyone hugged and said their goodbyes and headed out. The next stop was Jack's home in the village of Norwood, which was around 80 miles southeast of the village of Duran. As they approached his parents' home, Shinfia came over and put her arm around Jack and kissed him on his cheek. Shinfia, you okay? Jack, yeah, but thanks. I still miss her, but that was a long time ago. But the moment I travel to Norwood, my sister starts flooding my mind. I guess that shouldn't surprise me. Meeting Jack's parents, like everyone else's parents, was a wonderful experience for everyone. His parents were so happy to see him again and said how they were worried that they might never see him again, which made Jack feel really good that they took the time to visit all of their families. They said that they'd try their best to come to the Fate Festival in Duran, which made Jack even more happy. Eventually, though, it was time to head out. Just one more stop, and then they'd finally get back to Duran. The last stop, before heading back, was where Tenneth grew up, in the village of Knollwood, which was around 60 miles slightly southeast of Duran. Seeing their parents again had a profound impact on everyone. Those who had brothers and sisters also experienced great joy at seeing their siblings again. Belfin and Tenneth had no siblings, though, and neither did Jack anymore after losing his sister. But for Tenneth, this visit hit him hard, similar to how it affected Phileas, for both of them had lost the love of their lives. So the moment he saw his parents, his love came flooding back into his mind. So when his parents started hugging him, Tenneth started to cry. He had never told any of them about her, so after everyone met each other, he told them all that had happened, and, despite how painful his story was, everyone's love for each other grew deeper that day. This journey that started at the keep turned out to be far more than any of them had thought it would be. Meeting everyone's families was great, but this experience completely transformed all of them. The great adventure they had just gone on had certainly bonded them all together, but as they made their way back to Duran, everyone felt a bond with each other that was unlike anything they had ever felt for anyone else. They all couldn't wait to get home. Bale. So did you finish it yet? Sheila. Nope, still got a lot of work to do. Bale. Did you change the name of it? Sheila. No, silly boy, I didn't. I like the name I gave it. Bale. You like that name? Sheila. Yep. Bale. But they're not caves. Sheila. There's a couple caves in there, but it doesn't matter. It's just a name. Bale. How about this for a name? Shayla's Portals of Delirium. Sheila. Portals? I was thinking maybe gates, but portals is kind of neat too. But delirium? Do you just want to scare everybody? Bale. Nah, if I wanted to scare everyone, I'd call your crazy place Shayla's Portals or Shayla's Gates of Doom, he said, laughing, as did Sheila. So how long before you're finally finished creating everything? Sheila. I'd say around 3 more months. Bale. 3 more months? Sheila. Well, there's a lot here, so yes, 3 more months. Or 4 maybe. Bale. Well, what should I do while you're building your crazy place? Sheila. Heidi is at Red Annie Brown. You could take her out and ride her around out back if you'd like. Bale. You put Heidi in there? Sheila. Yes, she loves her new place. Bale, looking very confused. But what if she's killed? Sheila stopped what she was working on and came and sat next to Bale. Are you familiar with the level 7 cleric spell, Resurrection? Bale. Yes, but you're not a cleric. Sheila. Bale. I'm a goddess, you silly boy. Bale. Oh. Wait, that spell can resurrect a hydra? Sheila leaned in and looked right into Bale's eyes. Goddess. Bale, finally getting it now. Right. Got it. I'm gonna go get Heidi and go for a ride. Bale got up and went out back. Sheila smiling now as she watched him head out. Good boy.
Why is the lead when there is free?